This recipe is so easy and super fun, so I'm really excited. For the cookies, which we're going to start with, you're going to need 1 stick of butter, some granulated sugar, 1 egg, vanilla extract, baking powder, and all-purpose flour. Now, the materials you are going to need is 1 large bowl, a medium bowl, a rubber spatula, a measuring cup that is 1/2 cup, measures 1/2 cup, a whisk, and some measuring spoons. Okay, so we're going to start with 2 of the dry ingredients first, which is the all-purpose flour and then the baking powder. So basically you want to get the smaller bowl, and then we're going to add the baking powder and the flour in here and set it off to the side. So for the flour, you are going to need 1 1/2 cup of flour. So for me, I need 3 of these because I'm using 1/2 cup to measure, but whatever you're using to measure, just make sure that it adds up to 1 1/2 cup of the all-purpose flour, and just add it into the smaller bowl. And just like that. Okay, now we could set the flour off to the side. So now we're going to be adding 1/2 tablespoon or 1/2 tablespoon of the baking powder. Just open this and take this measuring spoon is exactly 1/2 tablespoon, but if you only have a tablespoon, make sure to just fill it halfway. So this is 1/2 tablespoon. Okay, so now that we have added the flour and baking powder into the small bowl, we are going to get your whisk, or you can use a spoon, but I prefer a whisk. And you're just going to whisk that together like this. You don't have to do it too much because it's not a lot, but just like that. And then now we're going to set it off to the side while we start with our other bowl. Okay, so now we're going to go in and add the rest of the ingredients. For this part, you're going to need your butter, 1/2 cup, or 1 stick. And for the butter, you want it to be softened, so you can either leave it out for about 1/2 hour before, or you can microwave it for about 7 seconds. It's really important that it is not melted, because we don't want that. We need softened. So yeah, those are 2 ways. If you didn't have the time before, go ahead and microwave it for about 7 seconds. But it's really important to make sure that it's not melted. So we're going to take that. Oh, and you're also going to need your granulated sugar. And I'm using a rubber spatula, but you can use a spoon. And then we're going to be using our larger bowl. So we're going to take the butter. I already left the butter out for about 1/2 hour before, so mine is already pretty softened. And we're just going to add it into the bowl like that. And then we are going to add the 1/2 cup of the granulated sugar. So again, I'm going to take my 1/2 cup and measure out 1/2 cup. Add that into the bowl. So now we are going to take either your spoon or your rubber spatula, and you're basically going to cream this together until it really just is all combined. And yeah, that's all we're going to do for the first part. Okay, so now I'm mixing the butter and the sugar together until it's fully incorporated. Okay, so now this is what your butter and granulated sugar should look like. But now we are going to add the vanilla extract and 1 egg. So you're going to need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So take this and your teaspoon, and we're just going to add this and pour it in. And then make sure that's closed. Now we're going to crack 1 egg into it. Make sure you don't get any shells in it, so that's not good. And then you want to wash your hands after you crack the egg because you'll have egg yolk and that's gross, so yeah. Okay, so now this is what it should look like, and now we are going to add our flour mixture and the flour and baking soda that we made earlier. So just take that and pour the whole thing in. And then you're gonna want to mix and stir this together until the cookie dough forms. Okay, so there was Kylie, and then, but yeah, I'm just mixing this together until the dough forms, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is what your dough should look like. I moved it to this bowl because the other one had too much flour. But now we are going to start rolling out the cookies and cutting them. So for this part, you are going to need something to roll them out on. I'm using a cutting board. You're going to need a rolling pin to roll them out, some of the all-purpose flour so that they don't stick, and some cookie cutters. And since Christmas is coming up, I decided to use a snowflake and a Christmas tree. And this recipe, the original recipe, actually makes 40 cookies, but I cut the recipe in half, so this will probably make around 20 cookies. And if you want to make 40 cookies, you could just double the recipe, but yeah, that's how much it's gonna make about. So for this part, you're gonna take some of the flour and add some onto the cutting board or whatever you're using to roll it out, and you're kind of just gonna spread it around, have an even coat. You also probably want to roll up your sleeves and just make sure you're not going to get anything too dirty. Yeah. You're also going to need to put some flour on your hands so that the dough doesn't stick. But yeah, we're going to take a good amount, and the cutting board's a little bit small, so I'm going to only put half of the dough on right now. I'm going to take half of the dough out of the bowl, and we're going to put it in the middle, and then you're going to take a little bit of flour on your hands. Too much. Okay. And then just going to, I'm going to stand up. You're just going to make it like a circle. And then you also need to flour your rolling pin so that it does not stick. Just go ahead and take it like this. Add some flour. And then we're going to start rolling out. Also for the cookies, it really depends how thick you make them and how big you're cutting them. That will change how much they will make. But we're just going to roll it out. And you could use whatever cookie cutters you want, but like I said, I'm going to be using a Christmas tree and a snowflake. Okay, so now that we have it rolled out, you want to make sure that it's even in all places, that it's not super thick on one side. So yeah, make sure that's rolled out. Then put your rolling pin to the side, and now you can get some flour on the cookie cutter, and I'm going to start with a Christmas tree. So you want to get pretty close to the edge so that you can save as much dough. You want to get pretty close to the edge and just push down. Then you could break off the edge and lift it up and just softly poke your finger so that it comes out. And there you go, that's our Christmas tree. We're just going to set it off to the side. And now I'm just going to go in with our snowflake. Again, getting pretty close to the edge and pushing it down. Then you can break off that part so that it comes out easily. And again, just getting your finger softly poking it so that it comes through. Now we're just gonna repeat this step for the rest of the dough, and then I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so this is me just basically cutting out the rest of my cookie shapes in the cookie dough. Okay, so I have rolled out and cut out all of the cookies, and with all the extra dough, you're just gonna roll it up again and then add it back into our bowl with the rest of our dough. And these are what my cookies came out like. And yeah, now we're going to get the pan ready. So the first thing you want to do is make sure there are no dishes or anything in the oven, and then you want to preheat the oven to 350. And then we're going to put these on a baking sheet and bake them. Okay, so now I have got a baking sheet and I've lined it with parchment paper, and I'm just going to take my cookies that I put off to the side and lay them on the baking sheet right here. Sorry, you guys can't see that, but it's right on the corner. And you could probably fit about 3 in a row. Just put those there. Show you guys. Just gonna be lining these up. While the oven is preheating, again, it's 350. And yeah, okay. So this is only the first batch of our cookies. And yeah, that's how it should be laid out. And then we're just gonna wait for the oven to preheat, and then we're gonna pop these in. Okay, so while the oven is preheating, I'm going to be rolling out and cutting out the rest of the dough that I have here. I moved the ones that I already cut out. I put them on the baking sheet, and they're just sitting over on the side while the oven is preheating. But you can also start rolling and cutting out the rest, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so for this part, I'm just adding more flour to the cutting board and then rolling out the dough again, and just continue to repeat that process until I use up all of the dough.
Hey guys, so for the cookies, you'll bake them for 8 minutes at 350.
Okay, so now we're going to be making the icing. The first thing you are going to need is some milk, powdered sugar, food coloring, 1 teaspoon, something to mix with, 1 cup, and a bowl or bowls depending on how many color icings you'll have. Okay, so now we're going to start making the icing. So you're just going to take your powdered sugar and measure it out to 1 cup, but be careful when you're pouring it in because you don't want to spill. Take the powdered sugar and add it into the bowl. Now you're going to take the all of the powdered sugar off of the sides. But if you do have some food coloring, this is the time to add it. Just start with 1 drop so that it doesn't come out too dark, and then mix it in. So now we're going to start to ice the cookies. So the first thing you need is a plastic bag, some kitchen scissors, and that's it. Okay, so now we're going to add the icing into the bag. It might get a little bit messy, but try your best. Kitchen scissors and cut a small corner. Okay, so now you're going to add a small amount of icing onto the cookie. Not too much because you don't want it to spill on the sides. Okay, so now again this step is optional, but you can take some sprinkles and add it onto the cookie.